Advisory has been issued on the negative impacts of social media on our keiki. And of course,
yeah, that's right. The U.S. Surgeon General says it presents a profound risk. Here to discuss more is local tech expert Ryan Ozawa. He's the founder of Hawaii Hui.
And the perfect person to ask this question to.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, how is this news? Like, we've been hearing stories about how this is bad for our kids for probably 6 years, 7 years now. I think it's just a very solid line in the sand that this Attorney General, Vivek, is putting out there the same way that they did for tobacco or for AIDS when it was a public health epidemic. They're basically saying this is something we need to pay attention to. It probably will drive policy, laws in different states. You know, I think it's basically saying we need to do something. This same Attorney General also said that gun violence is a actual health risk. So I think that, you know, this is part of setting the policy, starting that conversation.
Well, you know, you mentioned that the fact that, you know, it kind of like tobacco. I guess they need time to gather the data on that. So they've been gathering data on this as well.
Yeah, and I think the challenge is that for our kids in particular, especially, I have young kids, I'm sure many of you do, they live in it. This is the world that always existed for them. Maybe my oldest daughter remembers a time when there wasn't perpetual connectivity, but my two sons, they're like, this was just always a fact of life. How do you determine the impact it has on them if it's been in their life?
It's part of reality.
Right, it's part of their existence. It's like asking a fish to study water. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. What is there other than water?
And as a parent, though, you know, I'm a parent of young children too, at about this age that they're starting to be curious about it. What do we do? What do we tell them in terms of their adoption of?
Well, there's multiple angles to what the Surgeon General is talking about. One of them is to, of course, make sure technology companies do everything they can to limit the use, to make sure it doesn't affect people younger. I think one of the things that he said in particular was that, you know, we're not just talking about small adults. Their brains are still being developed. Things that happen to kids in their youth and in their adolescence affect them for the rest of their lives. So it's not just the same as if we were being exposed to social media for the first time.
Okay, I do want to ask you this though, because you are the expert. You live here just like we do. As Hawaii people that live on these islands, what advice do you have as an expert?
Well, I think a lot of times you know that these safety features exist, you know, turning off access under a certain age, limiting content to specific things, getting approval, kids having to get approval to download apps. All of these tools do exist, but most people don't use them. So the first thing I would recommend is take advantage of the tools that these companies are actually, believe it or not, against their own interests, putting into place so that you can have better awareness of what your kids are doing and better control of what they're seeing and what they're doing.
And have conversations. I think the hard part is a lot of the parents may not have the time to sit down and talk about the dangers of social media.
Yeah, for some people, it's not even in their universe, but for some, I mean, like my kids are like, don't follow me on social media. Like, okay, you can do what you want, but, you know, we have to talk about responsible use.
Okay, 15 seconds. Where is a place, give me a place where they can go ahead and look into more information, more options and possibilities.
You know, I don't have a specific site in mind, but every app that you know your kids use will have features. So you can just Google TikTok for parents and it will give you everything that you need.
Wow, okay, there you go.
And there's also more information on the Surgeon General's advisory as well. We'll have that.
We'll put that on our website, right, at HawaiiNewsNow.com.
Yeah, and speaking of mental health awareness, it is Mental Health Awareness Month and National Physical